Hello, what is up, Twitch chat? How are you guys doing? I am Emosaru, and I'm joined today by the lovely Kelsey.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Kelsey is going to be doing a really cool Link to the Past speedrun that I don't think we certainly haven't had on Frame Fatales before.
No.
Last year we did not last year, the last one though, we did a no major glitches speedrun of this game. Today we're going to be doing an all dungeons speedrun of this game. And this is actually a major glitches category, but it's a restricted major glitches category.
Yeah, so we'll be doing some pretty funky stuff while this is happening. So don't be alarmed when things go a little wacky, but that's how it's supposed to go. So we will be beating every dungeon, each and every dungeon. You'll see all the game. It's actually a really cool category, so I'm excited for you guys to see it. So right now, I just need to know what to name our file here.
Absolutely. The file name that one is Lonk.
All right, Lonk, our boy Lonk. Let's
He
go.
is a big boy.
Such a good boy.
Well, I'm ready if you guys are ready.
Let's
And
do it.
everybody in chat is ready. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, do you want to count down?
You can count. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna make you do everything, Emo. It's fine.
It's all good. I got you. This is why I'm here. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so the sound of buttons clickety clacking
Oh, sorry. It's loud.
means that we are at the beginning of this game. It's always fun when we do races of this in voice chat because you can always tell when everybody starts and who starts a little bit late when the clacking starts. So the first thing that we have to do in this game is get out of our house. It's incredibly challenging. Our uncle is over there receiving sort of telepathic messages, as are we, from a princess. It's a little bit weird. Don't ask. We're getting out of bed and we're going to go to a castle because where else would we go after getting out of bed? It's also raining, by the way. It's really a bad night to do this, but we don't really get a choice.
Yeah. You actually really can't get out of this sequence unless you clip your way out. But we're not going to do that. So, because we do actually want to go through this dungeon and get a sword and a shield and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Our uncle is going to give us our hero starter pack. We're going to get a sword and a shield. He was not good at his job. Hopefully, we will do better. You'll notice that there are no enemies in here, and the next room only has 2 pretty weak enemies. So I don't really know what stopped him, but he might have just tripped or something. But we are going to take over. Hey, no, look, I tripped earlier today, so it's not a judgment thing.
Yeah. Same.
All right, so this first dungeon is, we call it Escape. It's the Hyrule Castle dungeon. It doesn't feel like a dungeon because there's no boss per se. We're not, getting a crazy cool dungeon item. We're just gonna get a little boomerang and a lamp. But it is a dungeon, and so we are gonna run our way through it. This is actually one of only 2 dungeons in the game that we're going to do before we get the boots. So the boots are our go fast tool in the game. We're going to use the boots for all sorts of stuff. We're going to use it to go fast. We're going to use it to also do some of that aforementioned crazy stuff that Kelsey was talking about earlier. But one thing you might notice here is Kelsey doing a little bit of some funky movement tech here. We call that pumping. In layman's terms, it means we're pressing buttons on the D-pad really fast to go faster. There's a whole bunch of technical explanation I could get into, but the important thing is that Kelsey's doing a lot of work to go 2 pixels a frame instead of 1 pixel a frame, hopefully. So it's pretty exciting.
We'll see how efficient I am. If you aren't doing it super efficiently, you're probably losing movement. But it's fine. The effort, it's the thought that counts, kind of thing.
The game can tell. I appreciate it. All right, so coming up here is kind of the mid-boss of this dungeon. We're going to fight more of these enemies later, but this guy takes 1 pot and 4 slashes the way that Kelsey's doing it, but he's swinging that big old chain, and that thing does a whole heap and pile of damage relative to our current equipment set.
And we got Zelda, so we need to take her out. of this place because she was obviously locked in her own castle, which is not a good sign. So
Yeah.
we're gonna ditch this place, bail out big in a big way, in a big time.
It's also very important that we grab Zelda because if you don't grab Zelda, then what happens is that you walk all the way to the room where you have to push this little thing and access some sewers, and you realize you can't push the thing, and then all of your friends laugh at you and you forfeit. And that's definitely never happened to me.
Or me, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Neither of us have ever done that. It's 100% a myth. We've got about a minute of just kind of walking through this dungeon, not really doing anything. So if any donations have come in, this would be a great time to read one.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I have a donation from David TKI for $20. I hope the cool runners are having a cool time. $10 goes towards Laurie hugging the goat, and another $10 goes to Liz Star having good taste in graphics.
I agree with that last comment. So coming up here, we have to push this little thing out of the way after more text. The game is full of text. We got so much text in this game. We skip what little we can, but unfortunately we can't skip very much. So we are now in the sewers of, or making our way down to the sewers, I guess, of Hyrule Castle, which is apparently our preferred escape route. Nobody ever thought to check this. So despite the fact that there's all sorts of monsters and stuff down here, it's just nobody ever looked. So we're gonna walk through here. Coming up in a second, we're gonna come up to some rooms that have water on the floor. And I had mentioned pumping earlier. That water slows down our movement a good bit. So this is one of the places where it's actually really, really beneficial to try and pump through these rooms because you're gonna get a pretty good benefit out of it. And then in this next room up here, we've got this this rat that we have to kill. He's got a key. It's that rat right there. Kel's got kind of like medium rats. So that wasn't too bad. Sometimes that rat likes to go all the way up into the northwest corner of the room, and that's less fun because you got to walk your way all the way up there, and it's pretty slow. Do a little bit of a movement trick there to avoid text boxes. There are actually 2 text boxes in that room. We skipped the first one by holding right out of the door and avoiding the trigger. But with that, we have saved Zelda. Princess is safe for now. And we have completed our first dungeon. We're going to mash through some text. Ordinarily, in the No Major Glitches speedrun or in the vanilla playthrough of the game, we would be making our way over to Eastern Palace right now. And we are going to do that. But in this category,
little shortcut.
Yeah, we're allowed to save and quit. In the No Major Glitches speedrun that we did last time, you're not allowed to save and quit. In this category, we are, and that's super nice. So we get to go back immediately to Link's house, and we're just going to walk the short way over here.
So yeah, this is all gonna be pretty standard. Until, like Emo said, like until we get those boots, we're not gonna be doing anything super wild. So it's gonna be another few minutes, I would say, because we will get the boots at Sahasrara, which is our prize for getting the Pendant of Courage at Eastern Palace. So just time to beat Eastern as quickly as we can.
Yeah. Once we get through this dungeon, things are going to accelerate. Let's just say that. A lot of things are going to start happening pretty quickly. So it's going to be pretty cool. But for this dungeon, it's a lot more of that core movement tech. It's just having good movement, trying to pump where we can. There's one little cool skip that we'll talk about that we're going to do a bit later in the dungeon. But this is really just core Link to the Past mechanics here, and you just kind of have to play well and know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
Would this be a good time for another donation?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Awesome. We have $50 from M. Kostler that says kelpsey.
Kostler. Big shout outs to our Link to the Past community. They helped me get into this category about 3 months ago, and it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot about this game. I've been running this game for about 2 to 3 years now, and I never thought I would be doing a major glitches category, even though this is like restricted major glitches, but we're still glitches,
It totally
right?
counts. It totally
Yeah, it
counts.
totally counts. And everyone has just been super helpful. We even got like a tournament going on with this category soon, which is really cool. So big love to our community. They are really awesome people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, coming up here in the next room is that little skip I was talking about. So ordinarily we would have to kill all the enemies in this room in order to get those anti-fairies to move out of the way so that we can hit that switch. But if we damage boost off of that Popo, or we can do it off the anti-fairies as well, we can actually use the invincibility frames that we get to just walk in there, pick up the pot, and trigger the switch much faster. And now that we've gotten our big key, we can pick up our bow. So one of the things I want to talk about with this run in particular, especially this is important in the No Major Glitches speedrun, but it's even more important here. Ammo, arrows, and bombs are important in this category. We got to be really mindful. Bombs are especially important, but arrows matter as well. So you're going to notice us being a little bit more diligent about where we pick up ammo. The first time that we're going to need a lot of arrows is for the boss of this dungeon, which is the Armos Knights. And if Kelsey does it optimally, it should require 18 arrows. Oh man, you almost got that second.
I know
skeleton. That was gonna be the
most gamer thing I've done.
The clutchest snipe of all time. So one other difference between the NMG category, the No Major Glitches category, and this is that we actually don't need to worry about farming money in the world in this game, or in this category. Whereas we need money for a few things in the No Major Glitches category, here we only need money to buy the flippers. So we are going to get all the money we need from chests. So like I said, optimally 18 arrows. Occasionally stuff goes wrong and you use a few more.
Yeah.
But it's
so
fine.
In that case, I shot 5 arrows in the beginning there, and I killed the wrong Armos. I was supposed to kill the top Armos in that first 5, and he got away, so he came back and got me later and messed up my whole rhythm. But that's okay. We made it out alive in one piece with some arrows to spare, and that's the important thing, you know?
Yeah. So this is Sahasrara. He's a cool old dude, and he speaks to us in Japanese in person and later telepathically. So that's pretty cool. He also has a closet that he like cemented over the entrance to in the back, and he's keeping some money and some bombs. We don't need the money, but we are going to grab his bombs because those are rather important. We're about to do some bomb requiring stuff. So here comes another save and quit. And here's where the run starts to get interesting. So we are about to go to Death Mountain. Death Mountain ordinarily requires a glove in order to lift a rock to go into a cave. We don't have a glove, but we still want to go to Death Mountain. So we're going to get up there a slightly different way. One interesting thing about this game is that it actually only really checks for collision every, I think, 2 frames. So if we can do some precise movement by moving fast, we can just kind of walk into stuff. And so we do. And a few quick hops later, and here we are in the cave we wanted to get into. No glove necessary. Again, I hear the magical text mashing sound.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
sounds.
My favorite sounds is text mashing.
Yeah. This is one of those areas where you actually do want to pay attention to how many text boxes you scroll through. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting there mashing your sword, and that wastes time. So you don't want to do that.
Yep. So here we go. We're gonna bring this old guy home. He's gonna give us a magic mirror, and we're gonna do some funky stuff. So In the NMG speedrun, we tend to skip the silver arrows. They don't actually help us that much, and they cost a lot of time to get. But when we're allowed to do glitches, we can actually get the silver arrows pretty quickly. So what happened there is Kelsey is clipping through a ledge. She just walked into the Dark World portal. She's walking around off the proper map. She's actually fully on the map. The camera just isn't moving with her, so she's doing it
I can
all as though
actually
it
like
looks on the
show
screen.
you.
Yeah.
Where it looks like Link is in like on the pyramid right now, but I'm up here on Death Mountain.
Yeah. So we're going to mirror in a very particular spot here. And what we are doing is putting a portal back to the Dark World in a very particular place. We're going to go into this cave, reset our camera. We're going to come out. Now we're going to do another clip to get down to the bottom part of Hyrule, off the mountain. And we're obviously not supposed to be doing this, but we are. Kelsey's going to do what's called river clip here. So she's going to clip through this ledge. And ultimately, we're going to end up in a river, hence the name River Clip.
Hey, there's a
I know,
river.
it's incredibly well named, I know. So here we are in the river. We're going to walk around. Again, we're not actually out of bounds. Our camera just looks wrong. So what this is allowing us to do is warp immediately into the Pyramid Fairy. This is ordinarily something we would access much later in the game, but we're going to do it now and grab our silver arrows. Silver arrows are an incredible safety to get in this category. They actually, if you do all the clips well and you're pretty quick about it, they really only cost about 20 seconds to get when you factor in all the time saves that you get later. Whereas in the no major glitches category, they actually cost a good bit more because they don't save as much. So here it's really a nice safety. It makes the run way more consistent. So, like I said, we're accelerating, we don't let up. We're gonna do another clip here. We're gonna get spin speed to go real fast, and we're gonna do that thing. We call that Kiki Yeet. Because it is we just yeeted ourselves up here, and we are about to do Kiki Skip. Kiki is the name of a monkey who ordinarily lets us into the Palace of Darkness. We don't want to deal with that monkey. So we are going to go directly into the dungeon. Kels is attempting to get a particular line up here with this bomb and then use the bomb to clip herself into this wall. After that, she can do a 1-frame buffer. And then here we go. We are now in Palace of Darkness, but it looks a little bit weird. So we're not actually in Palace of Darkness. Technically, we're still in caves. We're in the cave state. But what's nice about this is that we can actually open doors without using keys and a bunch of other stuff. So we're going to come up here. We're going to use that fact to open this door. We don't want to do too much more in this dungeon because we need to actually be in Palace of Darkness for things to work properly. So we're going to exit and re-enter the dungeon. That's going to let the game know that we're actually in Palace of Darkness. So everything we get now is going to be proper. One of the biggest issues with this is that keys, the small keys and the big keys in this game, are not actually locked to a particular dungeon when you get them. They actually just credit to whatever dungeon the game thinks you're in. So if we weren't in Palace of Darkness proper, we would potentially have issues. There are other sprites and things that don't spawn properly when you're in that cave state, and so we would potentially have issues when we got the crystal and did other things, and so it's best to just leave and come back in and make sure that we're in the right dungeon.
Cool. Yeah, so we're here.
Yep,
we are doing Palace of Darkness. And it's a little bit of different routing than you would see in a no major glitches run, just because we already got a key, or we already used a key on a key door that wasn't really a key. So
yeah.
But really, because of that, we get to skip another key later on that we would get after the hammer. So right now we're gonna get the hammer quickly using hammer jump, and which is another cool little trick. And then we'll be going to Emosaru.
Yeah, hammer jump is actually one of two it is a clip, but it's one that we actually allow in the new major glitches category as well. So it's a pretty standard trick for people to learn. But yeah, we're just gonna set a bomb on a particular Y coordinate, and then we're gonna position ourselves at another particular Y coordinate, and we're gonna walk right through this rail and grab our hammer. because we already have a key, we can mirror out to the front, and now we can go straight to the boss. The boss of this dungeon is called Helmasaur King, and he is he's a right jerk. He is not a nice boy. But fortunately, because Kelsey got the silver arrows, this fight is way more consistent than it is without the silver arrows. Helmasaur has 2 phases. At the beginning of the fight, we're going to be breaking a mask off of his face. We're going to do that with our hammer. After that, we have to hit him in this jewel in his head and actually take him out. The thing is, we are in this dungeon way earlier than we're supposed to be. And one of the things that we're meant to have done before coming into this dungeon is get the Master Sword, which is the level 2 sword, and it does twice as much damage as the sword we currently have. So we are actually a good bit under-equipped to do this boss normally, and we have a bit less health as well. So having those silver arrows, which can take out the second phase of Helmasaur King in 2 shots very safely, makes this fight a whole lot more predictable than if we're actually trying to go in and kill him normally.
Nice. Yeah, so normally like Palace of Darkness is the first dungeon you do in the Dark
Oh,
World.
heck
but-
yeah. Sorry. She got the cool
Yeah.
boomerang thing.
That was
and
the
we
cool
just
thing to
need
get.
we just need to talk about that. It's incredibly minor, but we just have to appreciate the fact that she did it. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
But yeah, we're doing it so early. I mean, this is like literally the second dungeon we're doing instead of the 4th, you know? But yeah, anyway, what Emo and I were just very excited about was this little swag boom thing I did off the stairs. It's a little tricky to get, and I'm glad that I got it because it's been frustrating.
Yep. All right, so here is our Helma boy. So it's 17 hits with the hammer to get rid of his mask. Depending on what's going on screen at the time, it's a little bit less important with silver arrows, but when we actually get that 17th hit on Helmasaur, if he had been shooting any fireball, this was actually a really friendly Helmasaur. If he had been shooting any fireballs, those fireballs would despawn. So that's a nice thing that we tend to pay attention to during this fight is if we're concerned about those fireballs, we can time the last hit to despawn them.
All right, so we got a little crystal cutscene here. That's a good fight. So if you have any donations, this is a good time for it.
Really, really do.
Awesome.
We've got a lot of love for this run. I have $100 from Security
Aw.
Live. Greetings from Security Live. I have $100 from Alex the Ordinary. Good luck on the run, Kelsey.
Oh my God, Alex. Thank you. Thanks, dude.
I have $250 from Griff and or had to donate during Kelp's ALTTPAD run. Kelp A. Donation goes to Runner's Choice.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Gryffindor.
If we have time for a couple more, I've got some.
Maybe
Sure.
one more, but then we're
Yeah,
about
one
to get
more.
into stuff.
Sure. I have one from Notch for $10. Good luck, gamer. Kelp Cool, Kelp Dab, Kelp A.
Thanks, Notch.
Heck yeah. If you don't know, Kelsey has some of the best emotes on Twitch, so it's a thing. So, Kelps
go.
did the completely expected thing and saved and quit again. You're going to see a lot of those save and quits in the first half of this run. And now we're doing more clipping, and we're going into Tower of Hera. So ordinarily, this is the 3rd dungeon in the Light World, so the 3rd dungeon that we would do in the game. It's still actually the 3rd dungeon. We've just done some other stuff. The nice thing about doing things in the order that we have is that we have the hammer when we come in here. And the hammer is a substantially better weapon than what we would otherwise have with our sword. So the hammer is actually equivalent to the level 3 sword. And given that we have a level 1 sword and every level doubles the damage, that's pretty dang good. So when we get up to the boss of this dungeon, that's going to be pretty sweet.
If everything goes well, it should be fast. Sometimes Moldorm has a good bit of movement RNG, and he can just kind of do whatever the heck he wants. And you just gotta kind of deal with it. And sometimes he's aggressive and really wants to push you off the edge. So Hera is one of those dungeons where you will often see a lot of time loss, just for luck. Like there's just nothing really you can do about it except for just react as best as you can. This is like if I'm being honest, this is my least favorite dungeon. I really get frustrated with things that happen in here sometimes, but it's early, so you know, get it out of the way.
Yeah. So now that we've got our big key, we can head upstairs. And we've seen a couple bomb clips already, but this is actually, in just a minute here, is going to be our first. Well, I guess the hammer jump looks a little bit different. This is going to be our first sort of standard bomb jump. And we're going to use it to avoid having to go up an extra floor and fall through a pit. We're going to do a bomb jump vertically in order to go grab the big chest of this dungeon and get our moon pearl.
Oh no, I saw that happening. All right, it's okay. Missed the bomb jump. I was a little early on the get-go, but it is okay. We have a lot of bombs.
Yeah,
And
I've
lots.
only ever done that about like 30,000 times. So
Same. Heck,
fine.
actually, I think last time, remember, Emo, you and I were racing, and I think I missed this bomb jump. I think I missed it literally 3 times during our race. It was a mess.
I can't remember. There was something that I screwed up really, really badly, but I think we both had our moments. But
Yeah, it was. This game punishes pretty hard. There we go. Okay. Just had to be a little more patient.
Heck yeah. So here we go. We got our moon pearl. So our moon pearl is what allows us to stay normal Link instead of adorable fuzzy bunny Link when we go into the dark world. And while I know you might be thinking to yourself that adorable funny or fuzzy bunny Link sounds like a pretty good thing, it's not, because we can't actually swing our sword or do anything else. It's pretty lame. Everything's fine. All right, so this is Moldorm. Moldorm likes to bounce you out of his arena. He likes to be a big old jerk. But with the hammer, it's only going to take us 3 hits, assuming it goes well. But he is really hanging around on that edge, isn't he?
Do you mind if I cut in for a quick announcement?
Please go for it.
Go right
Yeah,
ahead.
please.
Thank you so much. Everyone, we hit $33,000 raised so far for Malala Fund. That means we are going to be seeing the speedrun of Pokemon Snap. That is absolutely amazing. Everyone, thank you so much. Our next incentive is open up for $44,000 for Super Metroid. So again, thank you guys so much. I'm blown away by everyone's generosity.
That's incredible.
Yo, thanks everybody. That's awesome. Also,
I had a really cool milestone.
I almost had a heart attack.
Yeah, we quench levels were high, but we are fine. So we're gonna do another one of these Death Mountain descents, what we call them. And so we're going down here, but now we are in the Dark World. We still don't have a glove, so this is our only way to be down here in the Dark World right now. We haven't beaten Aghanim, which would ordinarily open up a portal at the castle, and we would need a glove and a hammer in order to use the portal up here. So we actually had to clip down there. And now we're gonna go into Thieves Town, which I believe is the 4th Dark World dungeon ordinarily.
But Thieves Town actually isn't like too bad when it comes to dealing damage. It's just mostly that like the enemies in here do like 2 hearts of damage if you like walk into them, which is not good.
Yeah.
But like having like the fighter sword still here isn't a big deal. I will pull out the hammer about halfway through just to speed up like the killing enemies process. But this first part, we're just going to be running through a lot of it without really paying much attention to the enemies unless they get in the way.
Yeah, this is also a dungeon that until we get down into the basement, we're going to do more or less normally. Not a lot of difference between this category in particular and the New Major Glitches speedrun. We mentioned earlier that we're talking about a restricted major glitches category. And you may have sort of gotten a sense of this already, but really what we're talking about when we say that is that pretty much in the overworld, anything that's beneficial is fair game, but we still want people to play the dungeons, right? So there's actually an all bosses category of this game, which is a full-on major glitch category that's a little bit more permissive. But as this is all dungeons, we want to make sure that people are more or less emphasis on the more or less, but more or less playing the dungeons and doing the game. So the boss of this dungeon is blind. Blind does not like light. So we just blew open a hole in that floor, which is going to put a sunbeam in the boss room later. Spoilers. And now we have to go. Yeah, spoilers. There's a boss room. And that room is above it. So we are going to go down to the basement now. Ordinarily, we would have a glove here, and we would come in here, and we would deal with this guy, and then we would lift that rock, and we would walk down. And that would be pretty cool. But we don't have a glove. So instead, we have to kill everything in this room.
Taking lots of damage here, which is not good.
I heard the gasp.
Yeah, I'm like gasping every time because I'm like, please don't kill me. Please don't. I'm just like begging right now. Like, please just let me get through here.
Yeah, I'm gonna I was at like clinch level 10 on Moldorm. I managed to get back down to clinch level 3. I'm gonna temporarily be at like a 4 right now. And then hopefully we'll bring it back down in a little bit. So we've picked up this this lady in a cell here. This is the second lady in prison that we've picked up. So we're pretty cool. We have skipped the first glove. We have grabbed the second glove. Despite the game presenting them to you as upgrades, they actually aren't really. They just replace the item that you already had. So we can just jump straight to the second glove by having that. We have to actually be careful not to pick up the first glove later because, like I said, they overwrite whatever you got and you can actually permanently downgrade and really screw yourself. So as you can see, that lady we saved was actually this
horrible
thing.
Monster.
Yeah. So hey, that's not nice.
Sorry.
They do the best. They do the best that they can. They washed their weird sheet.
Yeah,
thing
they
and,
might have exfoliated a little too much.
Yeah. They're,
just raw skin.
Yeah, the worst thing is I bet they use microbeads and that stuff gets in the ocean and it's just a huge mess. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
You got to be
Can't
really conscientious about
Can't
that
be
stuff in
using those
2020.
microbeads.
No,
Yep.
it's not good.
Recycled cotton. Come on, guys.
All right, so more text smashing. There's a lot of text smashing. Every dungeon we get text smashing. It's like our reward for playing well. We get to sit there and hurt our hands by mashing text. But after this, it's time to get money.
Get money.
Exactly. We need to get money and we need to get a new weapon because it's finally time. So we're going to come down here, this little bombable shack here. I think some people call it the brewery, I guess, because there's like a thing in here that kind of, yeah, like whatever that, I don't know. It's got kegs and a sink, so it's a brewery apparently.
I just call it like a shack, you know.
I do too, but I don't know. People say weird stuff. So at any rate, we've got 300 rupees. We're gonna come over here and we are gonna save Glan. This is our friend Glan, and he is a froggy boy. So we need to come over here and grab Glan. We're gonna go into the library here and get our book, which we're gonna need in a little bit.
We took him on a literacy adventure. It was great.
We did.
A book tour.
Yeah.
He's an accomplished author.
Yeah, Glan has written many young adult fictional novels in the fantasy universe, and they're just going great for him. So now we're gonna go over here to the east, and we're going to take our little frog friend back to the light world. It turns out that Glan is not actually Glan. He's actually an old man. So and Glenn is not an old man. I hate to break it to you guys. He's a very young boy. So we are going to send this guy home to his brother. They are then going to offer to upgrade our sword, and they're going to do it in anime here. And then they're going to require us to do a couple of screen transitions, which we are going to do by going back into the dark world and then mirroring again. And now we are going to get the tempered sword. It's a beautiful reddish, sort of, orangey brickish color. But more importantly, we just upgraded our sword damage 4 times.
Yes.
This puts us back strength-wise where we would expect to be at this point in the No Major Glitches speedrun. So it's going to make the next dungeon boss a lot more comfortable. So what Kelsey was trying to go for there is a meme called Fence Dash.
And I said, oh God, because I did not get it even sort
No.
of. And I'm sorry, Emo. That would have been for you.
I know. I would have been so happy. That would have reset the clinch meter. But unfortunately, we're still gonna live at about a 1.5. So it's an incredibly minor, insignificant time save, but we all go for it and get unreasonably happy when we get it.
We joke about it saving 70 years or something.
Oh yeah,
it saves 2 hours by doing this. But
your
really
timer go no PB is dead if you get Fence Dash. It's pretty great. So we are now in Skull Woods. We need to come back to the sort of mid part of the dungeon here. This room is terrible. I hate it. These mummies are always jerks. You come back here, pull a statue, and we're gonna go grab our big key. And then we're gonna go do another one of those vertical bomb jumps to get our fire rod. This is one of 2 magical rods that we will be picking up. I'll give you 3 guesses as to what the other one shoots. Spoilers, it's ice.
3 guesses. That's really generous.
I mean, look, when you're dealing with Twitch chat, you never know what it's gonna take. So we're gonna do another one of these bomb jumps here to get across this gap, and that was very clean and nicely done. So Kel's opting to bonk across the ledge there, which is a nice safe strat.
Yeah, saves a heart. Just because things at the back of this dungeon can get a little crazy sometimes, if
Yeah, there are a few rooms that we're gonna go through here that occasionally go all kinds of wrong, and then we've got a really interesting boss, which we will talk about momentarily.
Yeah, I mean, this is, if you're familiar with Link to the Past speedruns, this is pretty much an ordinary, oh nice, that was not nice, an ordinary Skullwoods route. There's no really anything different about this, except for we'll be saving and quitting after we leave.
Yep, always saving and quit. It's interesting because we save and quit a lot until we just don't save and quit for a while.
Oh my gosh, I didn't quite make it.
Ooh, yeah.
It's all good.
So this is one of those rooms, that mold worm, the little miniature mold worm in the top right of that room, has a few different patterns that they can go in, and most of them are completely fine. You don't really have to worry too much about it, or it's really easy to slash. But every once in a while, he'll heck you up pretty good. So welcome to the Mothula fight. Mothula fight, we are going to attempt to hit him at the start. Oh, we didn't do it. With a couple of dashes, but we just need 4 slashes with our tempered sword. The critical thing here is that we can't slash him such that he would hit the spikes. Good job. That was a really nice recovery.
Thanks.
Because if he gets bopped into the spikes, it will actually cancel out our sword damage. He's specifically coded to be immune to the spikes. And if we bop him into the spikes, that will overwrite our sword damage and he'll take no damage, which is kind of the opposite of what we're trying to do.
All right.
More text mashing.
More text mashing. Yeah, mashing. I almost said mashing with a G. Don't know what I was trying to say. All right. This is my favorite segment right here. The one that we're about to do, because it's real quick.
Yep, we are about to go run some errands. So we're
Yep.
gonna save and quit, and we're gonna go back up to Death Mountain. And the first thing that we're going to be getting via, again, a series of clips, similar clips to the ones you've already seen, actually. We're going to go back up into Tower of Hera and exit, same way that we did before. And that's going to put us in a good position to get our Ether Medallion, which is located on this tablet up here. We're going to use our book to read that tablet, and that will give us the medallion.
Cool. So that's half of it.
Yeah, so next order of business, we need some flippers.
But
because there's
we don't have a flute to get there quickly.
Exactly. So how are we going to do that? By cheating, of course. That's the answer to everything. So we're going to run over here and we're going to do another version of that Death Mountain descent clip, except we're going to do it this time over here on the east side. This one's actually a good bit easier. We're just going to clip through the ledge, move down a little bit, and then dash to the right. But that's going to have the effect of popping us right over by Zora's domain, which is where we're going to get our flippers.
Dead rocks are giving me a little issue there, a little problem.
Yeah,
They just wanted to be part of the fun.
The good thing about this category is because we're saving and quitting after a lot of these things, there are certain parts of the game where it doesn't actually matter if we take a bunch of damage. Like, so long as we survive this split, it's kind of fine. You know, we lose a little bit of time, but there's really not much risk after this because we're going to reset everything anyway.
Yep. So this is what we're spending all our money on that we looted the Village of Outcasts for. So, you know, it's all for a good cause. All right.
Yeah, so we've got the finger webs now. And now it is time for, we've got actually at this point almost all of the items that we're going to need for the game. We have a few more things that we have to do, but we're getting to the point where we're getting a little bit closer to just being, we're just going to go through dungeons. We don't have to do a lot of stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is warp into the dark world here. Are you going to go for this clip? I forget whether you do or not. Okay. So we are going to do a clip through this wall. We could actually walk around, but it's a little bit faster when it goes well.
It kind of went okay. we'll give that a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I think easy.
All right, I'm just gonna give you guys a warning. It's gonna start flashing here in a second. If you can't handle flashing, just kind of turn away for a moment. It will be a little not nice to see, but it'll be gone in a few seconds. All right, done.
Yep, so that was the first teleport style clip that we did. Basically, we're embedding ourselves partly in a wall and at a particular position, and we're holding a particular direction such that we will warp link teleport them the way that we want. And so we use that to get up onto that ledge, which allowed us to clip into the Misery Mire area. Ordinarily, getting there requires a flute, but we are not going to grab the flute. We don't need the flute. We don't care about the flute because we have boots, and boots equals cheating, and cheating equals winning. Exactly.
Boots and save and quit.
Yep. So the dungeon item for Desert Palace, which is what we're in now, is the level 1 gloves. So we don't need to pick it up. We are done. All we have to do is go back here, grab our big key, and then we can immediately mirror out and head to the boss.
All right. Another nice thing that we are going to be saving some time on is that because I got silver arrows so long ago, I'll be using silver arrows on Landmolus here, which will hopefully make the fight nice and quick. Sometimes he goes in his own way and you miss because the silver arrows are pretty laggy, so you have to be pretty careful with the timing on shooting them. But if everything goes well, it'll be nice and fast.
Yeah, silver arrows are, I believe they're actually the maximum damage class in the game. So they are capable of killing these Lammoas in 1 hit each. If we didn't have the silver arrows, we would use the fire rod, which can kill them in 2 hits each. But if you have silvers, it's definitely pretty cool to use them.
Oh man, yeah, I missed. Yeah. So bottom guy just kind of decided to go his own direction of very left. I couldn't react in time. It's all good.
Yeah, that guy can go right or left, and he can do a bunch of other annoying things too. So it's always a pain. But that's another dungeon down. So with that, we've actually beaten all of our light world dungeons. Well, that almost. We've beaten all but one of our light world, technically things the game considers dungeons. And we just have to clear out some more dark world stuff. Now, this next dungeon that we're going to go into is probably the most interesting and crucial dungeon in this category. We are going into Misery Mire. We're going to use that ether medallion that we got a bit ago to open it up. And we are going to do some crazy stuff in this dungeon. So if you remember earlier, when I was explaining about the going into Palace of Darkness while we were actually in the cave, like I said, keys are not linked specifically to the dungeon that you use them in. They're the dungeon that you get them in, right? And the game thinks you're in whatever dungeon you entered. So what we're going to be doing here is getting 1 extra small key in this dungeon, and also getting the big key of this dungeon. But then we're actually going to use that in a completely separate dungeon, and we're going to do some shenanigans to get over there. So this room that Kelsey is walking over to here on the right with some spikes in it, ordinarily in the No Major Glitches speedrun, we would just grab one of these keys right now and get the other one later. For this category, we're going to pick up both keys because we're going to need 2 keys. We're going to need an extra key for what we're doing.
Okay. Nice. Jelly was nice there.
Yep. So we're going to do 2 loops around this left-hand side. The first time that we loop around is going to be to get the big key. Second time that we come around is going to be shenanigans.
Shenanigans. All right. This is kind of going back a few minutes here, what Emo was talking about not having done all of the light world dungeons. I did see someone ask earlier if I'm going to beat Aga 1. Aghanim's Tower and Aga 1 are actually the last thing you do before beating Ganon. So yes, we will do it, but it will be after Ganon's Tower. And it's just because it routes nicely to that part. You can just mirror right on top of the pyramid after you do Ganon's Tower and do Aghanim's Tower at that time.
Yeah, and the game does consider it a dungeon. There's sort of a, there was a little bit of debate about whether to do it, but the game actually, it has a dungeon ID. It works like a dungeon, so we have treated it like a dungeon, so it is required to do. All right, so here we go. All sorts of fun about to happen. So the first thing that's going to happen is Kels is going to use a bomb to clip herself through a wall. The interesting thing about the dungeon, the dungeon map, the interior map of this game, is that all the dungeons and caves are actually on the same map. So we're in Tower of Hera now. We are going to drop down here. And now we're going to do another bomb clip. This one's a little bit more complicated. So Kelsey's probably going to be focusing here. But the goal of this is to get us to Swamp Palace.
Oh, I popped out.
Oh, no.
Thanks. It's all good.
So fortunately, we have extra bombs. So long as we can get ourselves back lined up on the right spot, we can try this again.
Sorry, I'm trying to pixel or buffer 1 pixel at a time, and it's a little tricky to do that with Link because he likes to move 2 pixels at a time. So
Yep.
what I did there is I used something called select buffering, which is like basically like interrupting Link's movement with the select menu.
Yep. So here we are. We are in Swamp Palace now.
Yep.
This is pretty cool because we're able to use Meyer keys to open stuff up, and that includes the big key. So one really nice thing here is that we're going to be able to go ahead and grab our hook shot using the Meyer big key to open the Swamp Palace big chest. And now we can mirror back and be back at the start of Misery Mire. And that was a really nice recovery on the second try.
Thanks.
Swamp clip. That was really good.
I'm gonna get all these hearts that I lost. This is great. Why not?
I believe these are called duck hearts, if I remember the
really?
the community scuttlebutt correctly. I think he is totally taking credit for them. So
because I'm lacking small keys now, I'm actually going to be taking a different route back to Vitreous to beat this dungeon. So I'm going to be going towards the west side of Misery Mire, which is why I went back down that bridge. Basically, it was to save time on the screen scrolling when Link falls down a pit, because I wanted to get up to that bridge as quickly as possible. That was a really weird movement. Nobody needs to talk about that, okay? Just,
yeah.
I don't know why I went full cardinal there, but I totally did, and it's very on brand for me, I guess.
Did you know that Cardi B is actually short for Cardinal B?
Cardinal B.
Yeah, it's true. Somebody in chat I saw was asking, why do we get the hook shot while we're in Misery Mire instead of doing it in Swamp? That's an excellent question. The real answer is that we absolutely could get it in Swamp, but in order to get the keys that we would need to do that in Swamp, we have to do this whole left side of Swamp. And that's pretty slow. So while that can be a backup if you're uncomfortable with doing those clips, and those clips can be run enders for sure if you're not comfortable with them, it's a good bit faster to do it using these clips and then use the Meyer key. It also makes our path through Swamp Palace when we eventually do beat that dungeon a little bit faster. There's a small key that we're going to need to hook shot to, and we're just going to be able to do that as soon as we enter the room. So Kelsey was going for a glitch here called Spooky Action Glitch. There's a setup that we do for that in the No Major Glitches speedrun that involves the flute. We don't have the flute, and we clipped our way here. So she was going for an alternative setup, but it is a little bit more finicky. It involves an item dash and a bunch of other stuff that's pretty easy to go wrong. So
I was a little off. Sometimes that also even like frame rules you, which is even more fun because you have no control over that. So. Man. Please stop, eyeballs.
Yeah, so here's another place where having silvers actually saves. It doesn't really save any time, but it makes the fight substantially safer. With silvers, you can just stand out of danger and just shoot to your heart's content. When you don't have silvers, you're doing a damage boost strategy to kill that boss, and it's a good bit more dangerous. Kelsey, you mentioned frame rules a minute ago. Frame rules are basically, well, I could say a couple things about frame rules, but probably the best explanation about frame rules is that every time something occasionally doesn't work in this game, we just blame frame rules. There's like 3 people who actually understand how this game works, and the rest of us just say frame rule every time something goes wrong. So frame rule.
I'm low on arrows and I'm low on bombs, so I just need to keep that in mind when I go into Swamp in a moment. I'm going to be picking up some extra pots just to replenish.
Yep.
Because I missed a few shots on Vitreous.
Yep. So we are now in the part of the game where we don't actually save and quit for a while. We are actually going to exit this area rather than by saving and quitting. We're going to do this clip here to get out. Now Kelsey's doing this safe ramen strat. So she was actually, you couldn't really tell, but she had to tap A during that hop to put herself in a very particular position in order to be able to get out of there. But it's very safe and very easy once you know the tech. So it's the same. I do that strat too, and it's great.
Sorry, I almost didn't delete the block with the mirror.
I saw. We're back up to a. Fortunately, you have a second try on the left side block.
Yeah, you
but
do. I
were-
mean,
yeah.
I could have left and come back, I guess, but that's embarrassing.
Yeah, we're back up at like clinch level 2.3.
Hey, this is fine.
I mean, that's pretty low, honestly. Like on the,
That is low.
I guess it depends if you're talking about metric clinch or imperial, but like, I feel like in general, 2.3 is pretty good. So here we are back in Swamp Palace, this time for real in the sort of correct way. So the nice thing is that because we already have the hook shot and because we already hit this switch here, this room is already filled with water, so we don't have to do anything. We just get to jump right up this ladder and head out. And in the next room, we can hook shot immediately to this small key, which we're going to use to get to the back of the dungeon.
All right, let's try this. Cool.
So Kelsey's gonna
That
go.
was not what we're gonna try.
Oh yeah. So Kelsey's gonna be going for a relatively new glitch. Actually, really quite new. It has a terrible name. It's called Diver Down. What it's gonna do is we're gonna basically use a Samaria block in a way that allows us to push against it and get pushed through this rail, so that we don't have to drain the water here, which is slow.
Nice. I did it.
There we go.
It took me 2 tries, so I'm not sure how much time we actually saved there, but it was fun to do, and I'm glad I got to show it to you guys today because I literally learned it last night at 11:45 p.m. So shout outs to Apathy Duck.
Yep, and I think
Teaching
I learned it shortly after you from Apathy Duck, so that I could talk about what was going on. So that's pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
All right, so here comes the boss of this dungeon. This is Argus. There are a few different strats to do here. Kelsey's going for the same one that I do, which is sort of the standard and sort of intended strat. But basically, we have to use the hook shot to pull these little cotton balls off of here. And then I think she's going to do 2 spin slashes with the tempered sword to finish him off. And GG.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, we're going through pretty quick. It's good. We only have Ice and Turtle Rock, and then Ganon's Tower and Agate Tower. So yeah, we're going pretty quick here.
Yep. And once again, after this dungeon, it's yet another one where we're not going to be saving and quitting. We're going to be able to run east over to Ice Palace.
Yeah, there is actually a way you can get to Ice Palace using something called a mirror wrap. We will be doing a mirror wrap later on, so you'll actually get to see what that actually looks like. But I personally don't like doing the Ice Palace mirror wrap. It's a little tricky for me, so I'm just gonna opt to mirror and literally run over there because it's close by. It's not like a huge deal if I don't do it.
Yeah, there's some very precise Y coordinate positions that you need, ranges that you need to be within in order to do that mirror wrap successfully, and it's pretty debilitating when it goes wrong. So. All right, so a quick dash over to the east, and then we're gonna hop in the water and swim over to Ice Palace.
I've had so many close calls in this run, and all I can do is just laugh because I'm just being insanely lucky right now. And
okay, clinch factor 3.5. So now we are going to do a bomb clip here in the first room of Ice Palace. This is an instant bomb clip.
It's very similar to the one that we did in Misery Mire earlier.
Yep.
Oops.
This puts us back here. So we're gonna do yet another very recently discovered glitch, and this one has a much cooler name. It sounds like something out of Thor. It's called Icebreaker, and I think it's a much better name. And it does in fact break ice because we basically eliminate a bunch of really annoying rooms. Very similar type of situation. We're gonna use a Cane of Samaria block, which is easily the most broken item in the game, and we're effectively gonna push against it. As soon as we get it, no worries. We're gonna push against it and use it to actually push ourselves through this barrier.
Yeah, I'm having some issues here. Let's see. Am I missing something? Okay.
I think you might need to. No, I don't know.
I don't know why I can't. I'm supposed to go right through this barrier here.
I think you're missing a left 1 pixel buffer. I think you might be too far off the thing.
Okay, yeah. There we go. Thank you for reminding me. So that's what happens when you learn two tricks in short succession of each other. You just kind of forget.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So I am a little low on magic now, unfortunately. So I need to pick up magic soon. Need that key.
Yeah. So the nice thing about doing Icebreaker is that we just skipped the Ice Palace bomb jump, which can be a little bit finicky.
I'm gonna get magic from the penguins real quick. I think this is gonna be
I think
the
you might
way
be
to go here.
one off.
Yeah, I think that took me 5 tries, and if it took me 4 tries, then I would have been okay. But because it took me 5, yeah, it was just gonna be 1 short of a little bit. So, all right, now we're good.
Yeah, we got probably 30 seconds or so on our way to the boss if you want to read a donation if we've got a good one.
Sure, we have $100 from Anna126. Amazing commentary on this LTTP run. I love this event and love the cause. Thanks so much to everyone involved. Thank you,
Awesome.
Anna.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's very generous. Okay, we're good on magic now, so now we just need to live through our buddy cold stare.
Yep. So this fight in the new major glitches category is definitely pretty dangerous. We are a little bit better off health wise in this category, but otherwise it's more or less the same. So this is definitely, can be a tricky fight, but Kelsey's doing a great job here.
Did all right, yeah. We'll give that like a 7. It started out good. Yeah, it started out good.
The beginning was great, and then it was fine for the rest of the time. I give it a B.
Thank you.
That's pretty good, honestly.
All right, we got time for more donations if you would like to shout out a few more.
Yeah, we have a $25 donation from Dr. Dedrewski. Good luck to Kelpsey on her run. Always great to have Emo commentating as well. Looking forward to seeing their runs later too. Kelpay.
Oh, thanks, Drew.
Have a $50 donation from Chokomoko that says, good luck.
Thanks.
We have a $25 donation from Felix83. Go Kelsey, go Emo, go Mala, get that yeet.
Did I just say get that yeet?
Get that yeet.
Get that yeet. Well, we did.
Put that on a t-shirt and sell it to me, please. Get that yeet. All right, so we are going to do our last little errand here. And we are going to go pick up our ice rod. It's located in a cave over here. So we just have to run over and grab it. We need that for one thing and one thing only, and that's to kill the boss of Turtle Rock.
All right, so there's the ice rod, and we're gonna save and quit. So at this point, we're gonna be going back up to Death Mountain, going to Turtle Rock, as Emo said. The way we're gonna get there is gonna be a little bit creative.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans, pure shenanigans.
We're gonna do one of those mirror wraps that we were talking about earlier. So it's gonna start off like most things that we have done so far in this run with a clip to get up to the top here. We're gonna clip back into Tower of Hera, and then immediately walk out. Then we get to take the Dark World Warp, the portal here, to get into the Dark World. And that's where things are going to get interesting. We are going to clip into this cliff over here to the right. And then Kelsey is going to do a very precise set of movements that look more or less like a Street Fighter Super, in order to safely get off of this cliff over to the right. The mirror wrap portion comes in when we are going to hop off a little ledge here and then press left and the mirror on the same frame. And so she got it first try, which is great. And then when we screen scroll over to the right here, it's going to wrap us across the world. And here we are. So this is Laser Bridge, which is basically the very end of Turtle Rock. So we're going to do this dungeon entirely backwards. We're going to grab a small key here, and we're going to head backwards through the dungeon to go get our big key that we need to get the boss, and then we're just going to mirror back to where we came in.
Yeah, so this is really fun because we get to do Turtle Rock backwards, which is something you don't get to see very often. It's very rare that you're entering in from the Laser Bridge entrance for the first time. Oops, took some damage there. But it's okay. So yeah, we're literally just gonna get that big key, be on our way. We don't need the mirror shield.
No, definitely not.
Definitely don't need the mirror shield.
Nor do we want it. It actually creates lag every frame that's on screen. One nice thing about doing this dungeon backwards is that this room, we just don't have to do it all. That room is actually, there's a whole mess of RNG patterns that you have to learn to do that room optimally. And in this category, we just walk through it backwards and don't care about anything.
Ooh. That's not nice. I got robbed of a fairy, but that's okay.
Oh. All right, so grabbing the big key, we just get to mirror right back out. So one of the worst dungeons in the game when you play it front to back. Actually not so bad, generally speaking, when you play it back to front.
Cool.
All right, so with all of that done, we are heading to the boss. The boss of this dungeon is Trinex. And it's so named, shockingly, because it has 3 necks.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's incredible. It's a real genius came up with that one. So one of these necks is vulnerable to ice and then our sword. And the other one is vulnerable to fire and then our sword. So the goal in picking up those 2 rods was to kill these 2 heads. Fire rod has other uses, but this is actually the only place where ice rod is useful.
I walked in the arena here a little weird, so I actually missed my first few shots on the firehead. Whoops. We're gonna be careful here and hopefully not die.
Please no die.
Yeah, and because of that, my ice side was a little weird, so I had to wait for him to get closer to me so I wouldn't be sure to actually hit him. So we are okay. Everything is okay. We're in the clear.
Yeah, I didn't even upgrade the clinch meter on that one. I knew you had it.
Yo,
I
thanks.
was very relaxed.
So, after we beat this dungeon, Link's gonna try to, kind of like similar to Palace of Darkness, Link's gonna try to go out the front entrance, which we didn't get to legitimately. So we'll be stuck. So we'll have to save and quit again, which is cool. But yeah.
Do you think we'll be doing any more clips?
I definitely say at least one.
Yeah.
I think it is just the one, actually.
I think actually now that
Yeah.
I think it is. So yeah, one more clip to get into GT, but boy, is it a fun one. So this clip is going to start off looking relatively similar to the Hera clip that we've done a bunch of times, but we're not going to go into Tower Hera. We're going to keep the camera messed up, and we're going to actually take the Dark World portal like we did when we were getting silvers. But then we're going to do another little circuitous route through the Dark World with the camera broken, so that we can ultimately clip through a ledge there and make our way into the Ganon's Tower entrance.
We're kind of like combining a couple clips that we did. Like we did, oh, I am here. I am on the right level. I am ready to go to GT. This is actually a clip we did earlier, but to get silver arrows. But now we have the moon pearl, so it looks a little more normal.
Yeah. So Kelsey hitting multiple buttons. What did you?
I think I just got stuck. Yeah. I was not in the right position.
Yeah.
Jumping down. That jump from the ledge there is a little finicky. If you're not holding the direction right, you'll actually not land in the right place. And since we're dealing with boundaries that we can't see, it's kind of hard to know like where exactly I was supposed to be there. But it's okay. It's all good. We can do it again.
Yep. Fortunately, there's no hard lock there or anything that would prevent us from saving and quitting. So we can always try again.
It's just an unfortunate time loss, yeah.
Yeah. So what Kelsey was looking, so she got it first time that time, but
I got bumped out again. What happened?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's see. So, oops, don't do that. This category is very volatile because of stuff like this. Like it's very hard to be very consistent at all these tricks because they're all very vastly different and they're all precise, and it is stressful when things don't go right the first time because it is always going to be a massive time loss. So if everything goes right, it's a great game.
Yeah, and that totally happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the goal here is to get hook speed, come over here. We're going to clip into this wall using our hook speed. We're going to hold to warp, and then we want to hold right out of the jump, so.
Okay, I'm missing it again, but it's okay. Try again.
Yeah, I think it's the holding right during the jump part.
Holding the right during the jump, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I always get that confused because I think it's up for Hera.
It feels like it should be up.
Yeah.
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 Yep, totally right. All right. You guys just get to see this over and over again. It's actually really fascinating to see. Come on, where's my jump? There it is. I'm looking for a very specific spot to jump down there.
Yeah, there's a little gap in there that you're looking for, and it can be a little bit unintuitive to find.
There we go. Got it. Okay. So yeah, you do want to hold a direction while you're falling there. Otherwise, I kept basically bumping myself out of the stairs on Ganon's tower. And that was just a fault on my part, an input fault. It's just hard because Link doesn't, visually you're not really seeing anything. You're just kind of going by pure feel there.
yeah, any of the stuff that you're doing with the camera broken, like you can only sort of tell where you actually are, um, by bumping into things, really. So it's fine when everything goes according to plan, but once you get a little bit off, you have to be really incredibly aware to be able to recover from that type of stuff.
All right. So Gaiman's Tower is gonna be we're gonna be getting to the big key as quickly as we can so we can head up to the tower part. Right now we're just kind of going through the different. I guess it's a basement. I don't really know. And whoops. I'm actually gonna grab these arrows. This is a good idea.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how low
it
I was on
actually
arrows.
is, yeah.
I didn't realize how low I was on arrows.
Yeah. Now with
And then
silver
when-
arrows, technically it would have been
I'm fine. Yeah.
But it's never a bad thing to have a few
Too many
extra.
arrows. Yeah.
All right, so GT contains a few boss refights from the White World bosses. This is the second incarnation of the Armos Knights. This time, though, they're on ice, like Disney characters. So we get to do Armos on ice. We're going to grab our big key. We're actually good on arrows, so we can just mirror out immediately after that.
Oh man. Tried to go for a dash there. In the spike room, if you dash on the first frame of getting hit, you can actually go for a pretty long dash using Link's invincibility frames. It's a pretty cool trick. But unfortunately, I just kind of walked into the spikes and nothing happened.
It happens. These
yeah.
two rooms with these mimics are really, really interesting to optimize, but with silvers, they're a little bit easier, but
yeah.
especially this one with the BMOs can go very depressingly.
Oops. All right.
That was really close. So the goal in that spike room is to yeah, I think I am definitely a bit behind on the video,
Restream.
but yeah, but the goal is to be able to dash out of there cleanly, but it's pretty tight to actually get. So anything that would cause you to kind of like do a little stutter step or anything like that can mess that up. Kelsey's been going up these series of rooms here, which are called the Gauntlet, just because they're just 5 straight rooms of combat, basically.
Where you have to clear all the enemies in the room. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's always spikes and lasers and all sorts of hazards, so it's always a little bit interesting. Feels really good when you get a really solid gauntlet, though. So here's our second refight that you just saw, which is the Lammolas. And I'm going to say that you just saw because even though I was watching at that time, I'm sure you guys had already seen it.
That was a good land move. That was better than my first land move.
Yeah, that was nice. These rooms are so great. There's 2 of these Wizrobe rooms in a row, and we're going to use the Cane of Samaria to clear them out just really, really quickly. And
grab the hearts.
They're just mechanically very satisfying to do. We've got a couple of rooms that are, we're just kind of making our way through here. So if you have a couple of donations, now would be a good time to get them in before we get into the next couple bosses.
Awesome, I sure do. Thank you. I have $5 from Apathy Duck. They say corn dog. I have $50 from Tomater. Love LTTP runs. Good luck on the run, Kelpsey. Thanks for showing off DD and Icebreaker. Thank you, Emo, for the commentary. I have $25 from Steven IRL. Steven here. Good luck with the end of the game, Kelsey. And Emo, please make fun of Duck some more.
I can't do that here. If I were to unleash my full capacity,
it would not be good.
I would be banned from the restream forever. So that can't happen.
I have $100 from Lumber Llama. Good luck. Have fun, Kelpsey. Thanks, Emo, for commentary. Proud to support the Malala Fund. Every girl deserves an education and to reach their full potential. Thank you all so much for all these lovely donations.
Heck yeah. All right, so that was the last of our Light World boss refights. It's our second Moldorm. It's the exact same fight, just on a worse arena. And there's spikes down there under that pit too, which is a ton of fun.
I'm just having a time with this room lately.
This room is always terrible.
I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Please just
okay.
go.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
All right.
All
right. Well, the clinch meter, I've had to recalibrate it from milliclinches to full clinches. We're at a very high level now. So here is the second in the normal game of 2 Aghanim fights. We are doing it first because it just works out that way.
Yep. What's funny is that if I had died in Ganon's Tower, I had made it back up here without mirroring, the game would have been confused and would have had me try to fight Aghanim 1, which I've done before because I forgot to mirror after I died in a Dark World dungeon. The game basically doesn't like it that we haven't done Aghanim 1 yet, so there's a few dungeons that if you die and don't mirror again after you die outside the dungeon, it'll like not give you the crystal to the dungeon, and it's called Fake Dark World. But thankfully that hasn't happened. But yeah, it's happened to me a couple times where I just forgot, like, oh yeah, let me just try GT again, and I can't.
Yep.
So this is actually the last dungeon here is Aghanim's Tower. You think we're done because the bat goes in to the pyramid. Like, that's Ganon, right? Like, let's go be Ganon, but it's like, nah. And we're gonna be okay on health and magic. I know I'm looking a little low right now, but after Aghanim's Tower, when you're on top of the pyramid, Sahasrara is gonna talk to us and be like, hey, go save the chicks that we already saved. And then he's gonna give us a health refill. And which is just really, really, nice timing for us before we go beat up on Ganon. The other unfortunate thing about Aghanim's Tower being at the end of the game, at the end of this category, is the major point of RNG, which are called blue balls, is at this point, which is at the very end. So it's kind of like, man, you could lose so much time here. But I just missed that guy. That was so much lag that happened there. That was amazing. Wow. All right.
This room is always a ton of fun.
Yeah.
So one room where we're just gonna kill these 2 guys really quick, but the next room is actually really different in this category, in a lot of situations. But yeah, we're gonna use the hook shot there to grab that key. It's actually pretty specific timing to be able to grab that key that way. Because the key only for a couple frames actually bounces up above the railing where you can hookshot it like that.
I'm so sorry. That was a goof up on the stairs. So what I tried to do there is do a thing called hook speed, where I get a spin speed state and then I jump off the stairs and go really fast, but I missed in a big bad way, so it's all good.
That was very special.
Thank you. Everyone, all the Link to the Past people, you guys are totally allowed to make fun of me for that forever. That is totally acceptable.
So somebody had donated. I forget which donation it came in with, and said that they wanted me to make fun of Duck more. But I can tell you that what just happened with that hook speed frustrated him way more than anything that I can say to him. So your wish has been fulfilled. He's very sad and angry right now, and it's hilarious to me. So it's good.
Good RNG so far. Two. So these are basically coin flips happening here, whether I'm getting a deflected ball, a deflectable ball, or a blue ball, which is a ball that just, falls apart like that. Okay, so we actually got 3, but the first one actually is a guaranteed hit, but then the 3 attacks after that are 50-50s. So it gets a little irritating when you get more than 3, I would say. 3 is pretty much the average that you can get, the most common number.
Yeah.
And here's Sahas Rala talking to us about what we need to do in the game.
Yep.
So
all that stuff we just did, he's letting us know how to start that journey. So it's very helpful text at this point. One really interesting thing about this is that I always find it like, I don't know, there's something about the way that every like dialogue here that has a confirmation is like, did you understand or not? They all say, did you hear me properly? And it's just, there's something really, like, they don't ask you if you understood, they ask you if you heard properly, and I just think that's really funny. Here we go into the Ganon fight. So one nice thing about the Ganon fight is that because Kelsey got silvers, the last phase of this fight is going to be really, really quick. So when we talked about silvers actually only taking 20 seconds to get an aggregate, assuming you do it pretty quickly, a lot of that time save comes from this fight. Doing the fight with the silver arrows saves a substantial amount of time, both in the number of attacks we have to do, but also the amount of warps that we have to wait for. So we get back a lot of time here.
all right, Ganon. All right.
He's a warpy boy.
Yeah, giving me all sorts of warps. This is again another coin flip of whether he's gonna move or just stay still. Go ahead and get my silver arrows out. Hey.
That was so close.
All right.
And with that,
It was a nice, quick phase 4, thankfully.
yeah, that's one dead pig. So GG. That was a good run.
Yep.
Like we had a few mishaps on.
Yeah,
on
a few clips that went a little less than.
Yeah.
I blame it on nerves, but
on all the important stuff though, that went super well. I think you guys really and truly, like, Kels did an amazing job, and all that business we did in Misery Mire when we were clipping from Mire to Hera to Swamp, like, if you've never done that, man, like, that's such a massive mental thing to do, and like, seriously, awesome job.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Emo. Emo did some of the best commentary. Like, I've commentated my runs before, but this commentary was a treat, you guys. Like, she did such an amazing job, and thank you very much for joining me on this.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for keeping me chill while I was doing all this too, because I was gonna little, like, this game. You know how it goes.
A Link to the Past is like the anti-big chillin', but we gotta we did forget to call time.
Oh, did we forget to call time? Sorry, when I slammed on my keyboard, I meant to say time. But it is a 1:26:24, if you were wondering what the time was. About 5 minutes slower than my PB, but it's all good.
Yeah. Do you want to talk really quick about the tutorial and the tournament before we get kicked off?
Yeah. Before we kick off, so if you enjoyed watching this, you like Link to the Past, you do no major glitches, maybe. We do have a very dedicated Discord to this game. We have a really great community. Everybody's super welcoming and very helpful. This All Dungeons is actually a category is going to be in a tournament coming up here in a couple weeks. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that if you enjoyed watching this run. There's also a big tutorial that we put together a couple months ago, and it's like really easy to use. I think Emo just used it not too long ago to learn this run, and
I did.
it's great. I'm just so proud of it because I contributed, like I did things for once. But yeah, so thanks so much, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for being there through the yucky parts. And thank you so much for donating to the Malala Fund, y'all. It's such a good cause. You know, definitely a worthy cause. So thanks for having us, for sure.
Thank you so much for that run. It was really, really, really fun.
Thanks.
We have a couple more donations to go through. We got $20 from More Suzato. Knock out the run out of the park, gamer. And as a reminder, SGDQ 2020 submission is open from March 4th to March 14th for both runners and volunteers. You'll be able to submit at gamesdonequick.com. We have a $20 donation from That Chupa Thingy. Keep up the great work and keep fighting until equality is the world standard. Thank you so much for that donation. And just as a reminder, for those of us just joining us, we are raising money for Malala Fund. Malala Fund is working for a world where every girl can learn and lead. With more than 130 million girls out of school today, they're breaking down barriers that hold girls back through investing in local education activists, advocating to hold leaders accountable, and amplifying girls' voices. It's really, really a wonderful fund. And thank everyone so much for everything they've been doing for this entire event. Just everyone contributing, watching. You all are amazing. We couldn't do this without all of you. So thank you so much. We have an anonymous donation with $10. They don't say anything, but again, thank you so much. It means just everything. Thank you. We have a $25 donation from Cordbug. They don't say anything, but again, thank you so very much. Okay, and we're going to have up next a Twitch ad. Welcome back to Frostbite House 2020. We have a donation for $4 from Princess Madeline. Fun fact, all princesses have telepathic powers. I've been telepathically sending positive vibes to stream all week. Thank you for that. We have a $25 donation from Pandering W. Kelsey brought home the bacon. Thanks, Emo, for the fantastic chat. And with that,